Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people where we speak about critical issues in the blindness community and all other issues from across the universe, galaxy, and even one of the oldest countries in the world, one of the oldest countries in Eastern Europe, one of the countries in Eastern Europe that American people or really anybody else around the world never hears from until today. I understand that we've had a longtime listener by the name of Mariana Barbu. She joins us from the great nation, the ancient nation of Romania. I got to say that I understand you've been a longtime listener of the show, and I really appreciate it. We really do. I also understand that you do a tremendous amount of important work over there in Romania to not only educate blind people, but to educate sighted people, how they can become better attorneys. And I know that you do a lot I know you have a lot of knowledge in the legal system and the education system and everything else. So I don't really know where this fascinating conversation is going today, but it's going to be fascinating. So Mariana Barbu, I'm going to mute my microphone for a bit and let you talk. So who's Mariana Barbu? What's going on in Romania? What's the life story? Just go for it and just dive into the conversation head first. Go.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for letting me join the Aaron's Opinion podcast. It's so nice to be here. It's my first podcast in my life, so I hope I can make it. Yes, I am a young person. I'm a blind person. I'm 26 years old, and I'm having retinal of prematurity as a diagnosis. Um, about myself, I, tried to, think about, to visualize how it would be like to be in this podcast and try to figure out an introduction about myself. I am a person who is passionate about innovation. I'm very spontaneous and I'm very deep. I'm a person who is trying to understand the world around her. Being blind, suddenly you realize that you are connected to what you are saying, but not very much with the person in front of you. And that's why I want to connect myself with the others and try as many of our peers to make our society more inclusive, more respectful towards people with disabilities, and not only. Can you hear me?
Yes, exactly. Very good. Very, very good. Yes. Well, that's a wonderful introduction, and I think you're very right that as you say, as a deep person, you really understand that a lot of times in life you go through life really searching for the meaning and searching to find true connection with other people, right? And that when you're blind or when you have a disability, this can be a very difficult thing. So I think you're very right. I also think that you've taken it upon yourself to do very well in Romania, getting an education and getting ahead in Romania. So why don't you start out by kind of talking about things sort of in the order that they happened? So why don't you tell us more how you grew up in Romania, where you're from specifically, education and how that works, because we've heard a lot of interesting things from the United States about the education in Romania, but we're certainly not experts. So why don't you kind of walk through the way Romania works and the philosophy and the education? Sure.
Sure. I'm so happy to be a messenger of my country and to speak about my country, because we have a very beautiful country. The sun is rising right now, and we have a beautiful, beautiful light. So you don't have to see to feel that. I am a person who has more questions than answers. So still, I'm very curious and trying to put a thousands of questions and to understand the world. My life is very simple. I don't know if you've had any young person like me in your podcast. I've seen the episodes, and you one of the inviters that you brought. They had a lot of professional work and done a lot of things. They had their own NGOs and stuff, but I mean, I've got a lot of ideas from them, and they've inspired me so much, And yeah, actually, I was born in a pastoral village, not very far from the capital, from Bucharest. I was born here in a family that works in agriculture. My parents are farmers. We are growing animals. We love nature, and we plant, from cereals and from vegetables, and other things that we sell here locally, because we are local producers. And I had my normal childhood because I had my sister and brother here with me. We've done a lot of things, even though I could not see. They adapted to my world very easily. We climbed into our house bridge, and we went outside. We played with our pets like it were our children, and we've tried to be great cook by using the soil and other toys. I mean, I have a lot of memories in my family, because here I could spend summer vacations, or Easter and Christmas holidays. And I remember being and helping my family selling, the vegetables. We were traveling with a truck around the country, and we were selling that. I remember, during the day I was playing with the sand at the beach, and during the evening and night try to sit nearby the truck and sell the watermelons or whatever. I mean, I find myself this Western and country culture, like you can find it in California and United States. I love United States, and I love how we are using the American agricultural machines, like the John Deere tractor, and we really love the discipline and the value of work, and it was given to me by my parents. And yeah, this was about my early childhood, my 3 years of living, so.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so now can you paint more of a picture, or kind of, so you started out helping your family with the farm and participating in your village in Romania. Excellent. Okay. So, based on what I've read up about you, you obviously have attended university. So, why don't you now try to talk a little bit more about the education system in Romania, how you got through it, and what you're doing, what you can talk about when in regards to your knowledge of the Romanian legal system and the education system in your country, because that's incredibly powerful and incredibly powerful information.
Well, yeah, before university, I want to say that I was I attended a special school for the blind in Buzău County. It is like a 3 hour and a half from my home. It was very hard for me to accommodate over there. It was a boarding school. There, I've learned so many things. I'm very grateful for the teachers, for everybody I've known there, for my colleagues. There, I was spending more than 15 years. So, kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, high school was there. So I know everybody. I met, every day and every weekend the same people, different disabilities, different ages, different stages. Um, this is how things worked after, um, in the Eastern Europe, um, and most of us we are somehow sent to those special schools. The mainstream school has been, promoted 10 years ago. Still, we are thinking about institutionalization, and I was living in a boarding school. I was having my life surrounded by so many children and so many educators. I was eating in a canteen. I was sleeping in a big dorm with other girls, and we were trying to uh, have a free time that really matters to us. When you are spending your time in a school for the blind, your imagination is trying to build a lot of castles, a lot of games, a lot of, even though I could not get outside, I was not very well socialized. I've learned so many things. I was participating in a lot of literature competitions, musical contests, creative writing competitions, and I've tried to involve into the improvement of the life of um, our boarding school, system, like trying to improve our daily meals, trying to speak about, how we would like to get more fun and to, do activities with other sighted peers, So it's a period of time that I could not forget, because there I was spending 8 months per year, and the other 4 here in my village, So this was the transition in my life, between two places, and this was my childhood, very protected, very sure. I mean, nothing wrong happened. I was listened. I was seen over there. The teachers and the personnel were really kind to me. But what I'm trying to say is the thing that this also should get, maybe simple reforms, because when I graduated from high school, I said, oh my God, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for the sighted world. I'm not very aware of my disability. I don't know nothing about accessibility. I don't know nothing about what happens with me. What would be the future like? What about my rehabilitation? What about my independence system? So, okay, in this special schools, we are taught, a lot of information, a lot of, vocabulary. We learn how to read and write, but, we need more exposure. We need more, um, speeches about disability, about, how the world will be looking like. What do we need to know as young adults? Because we don't have a, preparation for college. I love United States. I know everything, almost everything about every organization for the blind in United States. I'm following their pages every day, so I get to learn a lot from your system. I'm not trying to compare the systems, but I'm trying to understand what was the gap. And, this is the life in Eastern Europe. I understand that in other, countries, blind people attend these schools for 6 months or a few years, and after that they go to the mainstream schools. So they go there only to learn some braille and computer skills, and that's all. But they have a lot of social interaction, and that's why I think we need this kind of programs here.
I think you're very right. We here in the United States have learned and have heard a lot about Eastern Europe. And we've also heard, and I think it fits into the conversation, we've also heard a lot of negative stories about people who have basically survived the system in Romania and survived the system in Bulgaria. And both of those countries in Europe have had, to put it very directly, a poor reputation for blind people and people with disabilities. And that has been something that has been very well documented. And I think you really put your finger on the problem, Mariana, which is that the reality of it all is when you grow up in a school for the blind, when you grow up in this institutional setting, which is, where you grew up and mostly how you were educated, it's not preparing you to actually be successful for the world. It's not really exposing you enough to the world around you. So that's exactly the problem. And I think you're very right, that the teachers might have been nice, and they probably were, and if you like the teachers, that's great. Excuse me. But the reality of it all is that when you're in that setting, you're not going to be able to be competitive with other sighted Romanians. You're just not going to be competitive. It's a isolation like that in a school for the blind setting cannot prepare you for the real world. And that's one of the issues that, I have seen similar things, similar yet not comparable, because I will never compare the United States to Romania. That's both in poor taste and not possible. But I will say that other blind people who I've spoken to in the United States who have been to schools for the blind have also noted the same thing that you're noticing, is that when you're at a school for the blind, it's just not you're not competitive with sighted people. And I think you're very right. I also think you have taken a lot of time to learn, though. And I think you're someone that's really, really gifted academically, obviously. So after you went to the school for the blind and you had all these experiences, well, for one thing, do you keep in touch with any of your friends from the school for the blind today? Or did you ever know whatever became of those people that you went to school with as a child?
Well, yeah, I keep. I'm in touch with many people, even teachers, and even my teachers told me, okay, I wanted to do something else in my life, but what did I do? I went to teach in a school for the blind because there were no opportunities. So
Yeah,
it's collapsed my system, my way of thinking, my way of seeing the world, because
sure.
so I've our history. I've read our about our movements, about the ADA and the protests, and what has happened in United States and in other countries. I've read so many laws from other countries, and what do I see here? I see, children that go to contests only between, children for the blind, and that's all. I see, an association for the blind who, never mentored me for who I want to be, only for what it is. So you have to accept what it is. So don't change our system, don't change our thinking. You have to go to the massage therapy and try to limit yourself maybe, and accept the fact that you are blind and see the fewer options that are in front of you, because you don't have choices. You know, you don't have so many choices. So I want to say this statistic that we are on the last place in the EU where people with disabilities attend universities, and it's very very hard because we have not been exposed, and we hope for the best in the future. I wanted more. I wanted to work. I wanted to be a researcher. I wanted so many things in my life, and I'm still hoping that I can achieve. But first of all, I want to make sure that that blind people should not be only with blind people, should not be sent to places, and should not compete only with blind people, because this is not how the world works and how the experience feels on the way. It's about feeling the rejection, which to be honest, today has happened to me, and it's very difficult to 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 accept it. It's about feeling the discrimination. It's about opening doors that were not open before, and this is what my perspective would be like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, even in the United States, blind people face discrimination, which may surprise you or it might not, but blind people are discriminated against anywhere and anyhow. I too have faced severe discrimination even in the United States. So what I'm saying is you're very right that it's incredibly difficult in your society in Romania, but also I can also tell you that there is tremendous discrimination in the United States.
I'm
And
aware.
yeah, sure. Yes, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I'm aware. I'm reading about Uber discrimination and guide dogs discrimination. I know
Absolutely.
it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but uh, you know here 10%. We are our population is like 19 million, and we
Mm-hmm.
like 1 million of us. We are people with all the disabilities, and 10% have a job. And imagine this 10%, maybe they are not severe disabilities or stuff, and we have to change this perspective that we want special treatment, or
Right. Absolutely.
we want to you know to be treated like queens and kings, but we had to understand again our history. We have to read about eugenicism. We have to read about everything that was in our past to understand and to act differently in our future. This is my advice for all the listeners, for all our community with disabilities. Please make sure that you understand your history. You understand that you one day want to be in the scholar's books. You want to write maybe your autobiography. You want to understand that you don't want to be only a consultant, but you want to propose law changes, and you want to be the one who can read the provisions, not letting others decide for ourselves.
Absolutely. And one of the first ways to do that, and one of the first ways to make these changes, is to speak up on podcasts like this one. I do wonder, by the way, how did you hear about Aaron's Opinion originally? How did you come across the podcast?
No, I've heard on Facebook. I've met this guy called Alan Wheeler. He has been on your podcast, and he was talking about his life, and he likes his hobbies, and about yoga and meditation, and being naturally him.
Sure.
And I said, oh my God, I should listen. I should have listened to some episodes, and some people really inspired me. And as I told you about, the attorneys from Nigeria who lived in Portugal, and
Indeed.
and the music teacher that lives in the New Zealand. So, they said, okay, why my country is not there? Like, okay, there are people around the world, but not here in this corner of the world.
Okay, cool. Beautiful, Mariana. Sure. Sure. So, I mean, I guess the rule is if I talk about Nigeria, if I talk about New Zealand, France, then we have to talk about Romania. That's the rule, right? If I talk about Nigeria, then I have to talk about Romania, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are fine people here as well. You can come and visit us.
Well, considering, well, I'm just kidding when I say this. Well, really, we didn't know that. Nobody's heard of Romania. No, we don't hear about your country never calls me. We don't know about that country. We just think the people farm and we don't know what they do. They speak a beautiful ancient language and they have a beautiful ancient culture, but we didn't know they wanted to be called. We didn't know that. I would have called Romania 10 times a week if I had known that. Look, the fact is, by the way, we should pause for a moment of being respectful. By the way, rest in peace, as I said many months ago, to Sonny Izarike. That was the Nigerian attorney who lived in Portugal who passed away, by the way, shortly after the recording. And he never lived to, not to be morbid, but in all honesty, he never lived to actually hear his own recording. And we know that he listened in spirit. And also, yes, you're very right. We've covered a lot of different topics, and it's just interesting how you happen to be friends with Alan D. Wheeler, and you just happen to hear from him and things like that. So that's really incredible. But you're very right. The first way to start making changes in your country, in Romania, is to talk to people, is to start educating people, to speak up about it. You're very, very right. Yeah, yeah. So what? So obviously, as a brilliant thinker, which you certainly are, Mariana, so what do you know about the United States? What have you researched? What do you know about our advocacy organizations? What can you tell me about your knowledge of America?
Oh my God. I am so passionate about United States. I hope one day I will be living about 2 years over there. I love the culture. First of all, I'm my bachelor is in Romanian and English literature. So, American literature for me is it's a kingdom. Reading about, John Steinbeck and William Faulkner and, everybody that made America, and political thinkers and those who contributed to the U.S. Constitution. And, they, they, they set my values, they set my, stand up movement, stand up for yourself, try to be more representative, don't hide. And for me, United States, it's about freedom, about dreaming, and about truth, you know. And, that's why it helped me to understand why we have this issue here in our country, because we don't have the international exposure. We don't have international projects. For example, our Association for the Blind maybe would, introduce us to other blind people who made something, who could inspire us more. And that's why I try to look for models, to look for, people. So I love vloggers, from vloggers to organizations. I love Molly Burke and other vloggers from United States. For example, I know many things about NFB and ACB and BIT, Blind Institute of Technology, and small organization, and Hadley, and everything that, is doing something different that, help blind people in every state, but first of all, it's about friendships that I've made online with American people. They've trusted me. They want to come visit me. For example, last year in November, Laurel Wheeler, she is from Texas. She has a foundation called the Laurel Wheeler Foundation. She came and visited me at home. We made a list. We tried to look for people who can't afford technologies and supplies and white canes. So we found together here and try to bring a braille printer to one NGO and to other 50 people, seniors and juniors, and those one who will attend universities, magnifiers and things that we have never had and I have never had, because it's about, funds, it's about assistive technology, and nobody is talking about that so much, when referring about governments and why does he or she need that? Because, when they try, they say, oh, it's so expensive, he will do nothing with that. And, it's about a lot of impediments and stereotypes that we have to change, So
I know.
that
Absolutely, absolutely right. So your point is so perfect. It truly is. That America is about freedom. It's about opportunities. You are so right about that, Mariana. So if I were to ask you, now that you know so much about, now that you love America so much and understand the foundation of freedom in America, so what is Romania about really? What really is Romania? If you were to actually stop and think about it and tell someone who doesn't know, what is Romania?
What is Romania? First of all, Romania is my home, and nobody would change that. Romania is about my family, is about waking up every morning, hoping for the better. Romania is very beautiful, and we have 4 seasons. We are very proud about it. We have sea, we have mountains, we have everything that you can dream about. We have people that believe in hospitality. We have great food. We have a great tourism. We have Dracula's castle. So, it's amazing that we produce, so much when it comes to agriculture. So, more than 50%. It's an agricultural country. We love nature. We are very spiritual. We connect ourselves with nature. So I have here. I will want to make a short parenthesis. So I have here a toy which I brought to me. It's a musical box. So I want to put it for 20 seconds. In my toy, it's a mechanical toy, so I have to press it. The Romanian Rhapsody, so that you can hear it. It's composed by our great composer,
Sure,
George.
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you can connect in a virtual way with my country.
You can play it. You can play the song.
No, I can't.
Oh, I thought you were going to play us a song. Oh, okay.
I will play a song for you at the end.
Okay. At the end. Okay, I see. All
My
right.
guitar, but here I have a musical box. It's from wood, and it's a key, so you have to, as you heard,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I wanted to bring it here, because I love my country. Here,
You brought that's like an artifact. That's like like an artifact from
yes,
your country. Okay, interesting. Very very good. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I'm a collect. I love collections, and
You collect.
to
You
collect things.
like collecting things. Yeah, that's really good. You collect beautiful artifacts. That's great. That's great. Okay, so the other thing that I want you to dig into kind of head first is your degree in university, right? So you have this bachelor's degree in
I,
Romanian literature and American literature, right?
yes, and English literature.
And English literature, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, for now years I've been studying British literature, and
Mm-hmm.
the last year I've been studying American literature and poetry, and also a master's in Romanian literature. Um, yeah, for me, university was an incredible stage.
Mm-hmm.
I uh, I had so many opportunities. I was understanding my style in writing, and I was learning about speech and linguistics, and you know theoretical discourse, and phonetics and pragmatics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my university, I was not very exposed. I had some issues with the accessibility because we haven't had our office for students with disabilities. So we had
Sure, sure.
find ourselves information, the books. I had to scan a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
Pay hundreds of pages.
Right.
to to tell teachers, hey, can I record it for the academic purpose and nothing more?
Mm-hmm.
Can I be here with a guide dog? So I've had so many obstacles during the university. I was not very much enjoying this period of the time, but now I'm proud to say that we have an office for students with disabilities, and they are trying to build that all around the countries, in maybe in the 5 bigger cities, but we are a little behind, from other countries. I'm sure that there is worse in other spaces, but still I feel it on my skin that we are really behind, when it comes to disability policy and inclusion.
You're very right. You're very, very right. And this is a common problem all over the world. In addition to Romania, and in addition to all the other countries, this is a recurring problem that I'm hearing about more and more frequently, not less frequently. So that is a point that needs to be noted. Yeah. So being that I'm a bilingual guy, being that I speak English and French, and so that I love geeking out about linguistics and language acquisition. So, what can you tell me about your beautiful Romanian language and the ancient language of Romania? Hmm.
Yeah, so I love that you are speaking French. I wanted to, propose to you. Maybe we can propose to European Blind Union. Maybe we have to start a radio station here, as in United States there are uh, radio stations for blind people, and you would be a great, starter, and a great person who could have his podcasts, more centered on European people, because you can adapt so easily. So I don't know if you have been born in France or you've learned it, by yourself, but Romanian language is a sister to French language. It's a Latin language. It has also Slavic um, influence, and I love to teach it. I teach this language to children in my village, and also English language, and it makes me dream in my own language. All the revelations, all the questions and restlessness happens in my language. And the metamorphosis of every thought.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're very right. The Romanian language, by the way, is an ancient language that has roots of Latin, Slavonic, and what would, well, end up becoming other languages. So it's one of the oldest languages in the world. I graciously accept your offer, by the way, to say that we should have some sort of radio station over in Europe that helps blind people to connect to podcasts like ours here at Aaron's Opinion and many others, right? That's a great idea. I will say over the 5 years that we've been on the market in the podcast space, Mariana, we have had very few listeners from European countries. Actually, mostly Europe has, I mean, we have downloads from Europe, but not many. The majority of the downloads come, for me at least, come from Asia and countries in Africa and the Middle East, and the Americas and Latin America and places like that. However, Europe has been significantly more reserved and more shy when it comes to, participating in the podcast space. And I've consistently noticed that. I've had some downloads from France, but not many. So Europe, you're right. Europe really, as a continent, Europe really needs to step up to the plate more in the podcast and broadcast space. And I think that there's a lot more, never mind, or to not mention your country for a moment, but I have observed that many European countries are very reserved and the people are just more insular and shy. So in Europe, I've noticed that fewer people from Europe are participating in the podcasting space. I mean, there are podcasts from England. There definitely are. There are podcasts from France and a lot of countries, but they participate less than we do in America and the other countries. I have noticed that as well. Yes, definitely. Shortly later today or tomorrow, you will be added, and I'm sure you have a WhatsApp number, or that you have experience on WhatsApp, because we have several communities at Aaron's Opinion for you to join. You'll be added. I'll send you information later, but there's a group that I will add you into. And there are many people who have internet radio stations in that group. And so you would be very welcomed in those groups, and you can definitely connect with all the other guests and things like that. And that would be really, really good for you. Yeah. But you're right. There does need to be more of an emphasis on the European market. I would certainly agree with that. Yeah, yeah. Are there, so Mariana, are there like Romanian podcasts or Romanian content creators at all who are sighted or blind? Is there, what do you know about that?
Yes, there are sighted people. There are, podcasts that used to listen to, psychologists, and, about parenting and about, education, but not so much about blind people or people with disabilities. Maybe there are some vloggers and stuff, but not center on issues and um, international collaborations and you know um, life of an individual. And that's why I'm saying that we really to, we don't even speak with blind people from Poland, or, last year it's something has started, with one convention, but I've never met people with disabilities from France, from Denmark, from Sweden, from, we,
Okay.
we, we are, we are split it out. We don't have a parents group here in Europe for a specific disease. I think we really need to maybe go and maybe rehabilitate ourselves in this space, because you can, go free by using only your ID card. This is the way we go in the EU, so we don't else. But I would really need to find out about other resources and about other opportunities here. So that's why I'm saying that we are we are behind all of this. So we know our community so much, but we don't know about other communities and people.
You're very right. And I too have not really spoken to people with disabilities in French. I mean, I have, but only once. There's this French guy that I interviewed who has a French podcast, and being that I'm a French speaker, I was able to be on his show in French and things like that. So you're very right. There's a tremendous lack of resources around the European countries. One of the obvious reasons for that is each country in Europe speaks their own language. So, I mean, I think the reality of it is, say for instance, you speak French. If you research these things in the French language and got into French groups, you would see that there probably are groups, but you're right. They're not connected to the other countries. I would say, we'll connect later on tomorrow and things like that, but I would say you should spend some time connecting with some of my groups and trying to, connect with some of the groups that I can get you connected with. But yet at the same time, the thing that you can continue to do is educate people, keep speaking up and keep going to podcasts and things like that. So, yeah. Have you ever tried to contact any cited podcasters like in your country and say, hey, look, your name's Mariana, you have a story. Have you ever tried to reach out to media in your country?
Of course, and I have contacted media, not in a very maybe joyful way. I mean, when trying to make a change in our universities, I had to make a letter to the press and saying about issues in our universities. So this was the way. I mean, media is very helpful. Media should not use people, but we should use media. So that's why I really believe I have a basic course in journalism and interviewing people, and I really thank G4 Media for this opportunity. But I understand that I have to be present. I have to invite media in our disability events. I should invite journalists in our activities. I have to promote and to give a voice to disability through media. And those journalists who say, okay, she doesn't want only to give a critique opinion, but she wants to say about some realities. They are those journalists that I want to talk with to. I value this field, and we really need media in our lives.
Yeah, we really do. So when people try to get news in Romania, what are the choices for media in your country? Where do people get their information from in Romania?
Uh, So, the older generations, they used to watch the TV, mostly, even my family. So even I have this kind of talking to my dad, and he says, "Oh, why do you get the news on a written websites? You have to be present on TV." But I said, "Oh, I don't have so much patience to listen to all of that." But he says, it's live, everything is over there. So, I try to get the information in a quicker way. Both. I would say that younger generations prefer, getting that news online. Specifically, on TikTok, they prefer TikTok. I don't prefer TikTok. I'm not a TikTok user. I'm more classical. I'm using only a Facebook page, and that's all. But I try to to read quality news. I try to analyze the information and try to take what resonates with me and not make a conclusion very quick. You know.
Sure, sure. You want to make sure that you get all the information about a case before before you pass
Yeah.
judgment or things like that. Yeah, that's really interesting. Absolutely. And I think that everybody's a little bit different about that. I mean, also Instagram too is a major source for spreading news and spreading information as well. Yeah. Are you on Instagram, by the way?
No, I'm not.
That's okay. That's all right. Well, Facebook is also incredibly powerful too. So, yeah, so where have you traveled to outside of Romania? Have you been to the States before, by the way?
No, oh my God, you are you are putting me the question that really hurts and makes me happy the most, because I want to be there. I want to spend the family weekend there. I want to, visit New York. I want to visit some states and spend the time with local people, with farmers, and try to attend a university course in disability studies. Have you ever heard about this field?
I've heard of it.
So it's a new field that many countries don't know about. And, I've tried for about 3 years to apply. I was a semi-finalist for a Fulbright, American Fulbright Commission in Romania, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 times I've tried to apply for public policy master's degree, but I was only a finalist. So, guys, if you know about any other opportunity, just let me know and send into the comments, because I want to build myself in this country. I want to live and bring something to my own country and make some changes for the future generations.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. So after studying, Romanian literature, British literature, after having these degrees and studying this, whether you're blind or sighted, what are the job opportunities in Romania? Is there a tremendous lack of employment in Romania? What are some of those issues in Romania?
Um, I am a girl who, was like first generation of guide dog users. We had only 50 guide dogs for the blind people in Romania, and we are only 100,000 blind people in Romania living here. So I was maybe not in the university, but regarding employment, it was very hard for me, because I didn't want to go again in the special school for the blind. There are sighted people who used to work there, and other people who, they are feeling very comfortable by doing that. But, after graduating from university, I could become, a Romanian and English teacher for the secondary and post-secondary school. I chose not to do, because we haven't had updated our manuals, our school books since maybe 20 years ago. I've read on the news. So I said, I don't want to send and to repeat the same information. We, educational experts are trying, and they are working to establish a new curriculum, a new, to reimagine the programs here, because, pandemic moved and changed a lot from what and who we are. And I've tried to look after jobs in various fields. First of all, I wanted to say, hey, I've lived a lot into the disability with with people with disabilities. I want to live in a world and in a job where I'm surrounded with sighted people, and I've tried to work in call centers, in libraries, in schools, but private schools,
Mm-hmm.
national schools.
Right.
I tried to search for jobs. I've been to many interviews, but they've never seen a blind person before.
Yeah.
So
So is it, so I mean, what I'm understanding is in Romania, you're giving the impression, and I think I understand it, and I sort of know this already, but I'm wanting you as the Romanian to say it. So basically in Romania, is it fair for me to say that they don't really hire blind people? Is that a fair statement for me to make?
yes.
Right. So this is the thing. Which the reason why I'm saying it is that this is also a problem in other countries. When you simply refuse to hire a group of people, then the problem can never be solved. So until they change and until they start hiring people with disabilities, then nothing will change in Romania. Then Romania will be the same.
Absolutely, because we organization don't request for more people, don't request for more. About we don't have disability experts. The only thing that we have disability mainly is psychopedagogy, which is being a general special educator. It's something between psychology and pedagogy, but nothing regarding rehabilitation counseling, nothing about mm, accessibility specialist in the
Right.
so we are talking about universities and what they are delivering, right? um, we don't have this specialization in orientation and mobility, which other countries, this job is on the earth since the First World War II. Sorry, the Second World. Um,
Mm-hmm. You're very right. Yeah, since World War II, exactly. Yes.
uh, so that's why I'm saying that they are trying to progress. So yesterday I've read the news that they will do for 1 year in Bucharest here at the university. They will have for 1 year course authorizing interpreter for the deaf. You will have the chance to go there and study sign language for one
Mm-hmm.
year, only sign language. Because when you are trying to learn about disabilities here, you all the disabilities are taught in a single curriculum. It's nothing related to a single disability. Okay, I understand there is something to be taught generally, but you have to get your expertise in a single disability if you want to work towards this disability, if you want to help those people in the future in your career. As you have in the United States, you have assistive technology instructors, you have only for the blind people, I'm saying, you have O&M instructors, you have speech therapy, you have you know occupational therapy. Here they are starting to bring this new specializations or concentrations into our universities, but I think that it's a long way. It's a long way to see that happening. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
as a person who is, you know, who is blind, I didn't get some things when I should have had to. Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
so this is too
And
late.
and
Other,
unfortunately, one of the other things that happens when you refuse to hire a group of people is eventually that group of people, you're obviously not in this group, but the majority, probably the saddest and the most frustrating thing of all of this is if you, Mariana, were to ask other blind people in Romania if they really want to work or if they really don't want to work, probably they would say, well, I don't know because nobody will hire me. And that affects the psyche of a group of people. When you tell people they can't do it, then they believe it. Eventually it becomes true. As we say, if you say that your friend, let's say you have a friend named, let's say you have a friend named Peter, and everybody's been telling you, oh, Peter believes all these things. He tells lies. He's been telling lies his whole life. And then I would tell you, well, Mariana, Peter never tells lies. Peter only tells the truth. If you believe a lie long enough, it is true. So that's the psyche. That's how that works. The blind people and the people with disabilities in Romania have been told no so many times that they believe that they really can't. And so not only is it a social issue of demanding employment, but it's a psychological barrier. And the problem is it's very hard to undo psychological damage. And this has been proven
Well,
in every country. Yes.
true. It's true, but it's about how you think your impossibility is. For example, I'm talking about I'm talking from my self experience.
Mm-hmm.
I break the ice and to try that I can do more. So I had a short period of time. I had a job in a big corporation. I loved everything that happened there. I've never seen more technology than even in my house, even in my university. I've never seen so much technology and so much, movement and dynamic and, progress. And, they were trying to, help employers develop their skills and their abilities. I mean, I love the corporate environment. I
Mm-hmm.
hope in this field in the future because why? I want to take. I want to first of all. I want to have an English job. I want to get the management skills so I can really transfer that to public policy in the future. This is my dream. I was not planning that. I wanted to become a teacher from the very beginning, but so many issues that I have to talk about, and it became a passion, and it's between it's about, even though it's pain and pleasure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also my way, and we know better what our needs are. Nobody knows than ourselves what we need,
Mm-hmm.
So this is the way. Many people gave up, of course. Many people says, oh, what should I do? They work in, during the communism, they were trying to do brushes and to work. They were doing boxes. They were having a job, but since 1990s they were left. They
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Now nobody gave them a chance. Nobody made a vocational or rehabilitation program that could change their mind, could change their um, way of thinking and see the future. So again, we need to hear about people that do things differently, that work in different jobs, accepting the physiotherapy, the massage, and being in a special education. I love these people. They know what to do. They are our best coach and trainers and vocational rehabilitation specialists. They, our peers, they can make it for us. But if we want to overcome our condition, we need an extra support from our society, from corporations, from different institutions, from our government. So this is how I think. I'm still learning. I don't know many things. For example, disability is something that I would love to become a researcher. So one of my questions would be, what is really happiness for people with disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
happiness could be when you play a sport or you do things or you meditate, but how is it like to be a happy person, to have options, to be free to go? Because here more than 40% of the people leave their home. I'm one of them. I'm here in my village. I'm trying to look for a job, and still I'm applying, and I'm disappointed. I feel this, that after I will be 30, nobody will hire me because they were said. But what did you do during this time? How many certifications should you get until you will be there, until you will be questioned?
The thing about living is you never stop learning, and that's a very subtle and a very important thing. Learning just never stops. Okay. I agree with you. You should definitely continue doing research. One of the things that I would do, and when you speak to the other guests, which soon when you're in the WhatsApp, when you're in our communities, our private communities at Aaron's Opinion, you'll certainly be able to talk to all the other guests from all the other countries. Certainly not every guest who's been on the show is in the WhatsApp, obviously, but many of them are. And you'll find that not only are the stories that they tell you very similar in some ways to what you are going through, just in a different way, you'll also find that they will give you other ideas. And one of my ideas is you should set up some way for you, Mariana, to reach out to other people with disabilities simply in Romania and say, look, you're going to start interviewing them about their life, and you're going to start doing blog posts about it and start getting the word out, obviously posting in Romanian and educating other Romanians so that they start to really get that there needs to be change. Because one of the other many issues is I don't think anybody in Romania, except for, well, you, many people in your society do not even understand that there needs to be change. See, so it's not only about the fact that they don't allow people with disabilities to work, it's that they don't understand that a change is a necessity. So there's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of ingredients here. Hold on just one moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really agree with what you're saying, and
Sure.
but once again, it's a very gap, because youth have never interacted with old people, and some of us do know how to use technology. Some of our don't use to, there are some small associations who are trying to do rehabilitation, but they can't even cover a big city. There we teach ourselves, we teach each other, sorry, as blind people. But when we will be having maybe a national convention, as you would have every year in United States, you have a convention for blind people, and ACB and NFB, they do that because I'm reading. Maybe they could hear a message from someone stronger than me. I'm asking and requesting, and maybe I'm not doing that in a very diplomatic and polite way because I was not very well taught to express it. And but I'm including. I make sure to include everybody because you say we are still learning, and this is the most fascinating thing about life. But we are learning because we want to. But what happens when we learn after one mistake, or when we don't want to learn? This is this is my question.
Sure.
Because learning sometimes it doesn't come from curiosity; it comes from experience. So this is the most painful learning. I have a lot of ideas, as I told you, I'm involved in the disability communities, and that's why I want to be involved from outside of the community, not from inside, because I've tried doing things from inside and they don't have the ability to think out of the box,
Outside the box.
because they're
Yeah,
afraid.
that's hard. Yeah,
They
exactly.
they're afraid. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried. Let me tell you what worked for me. It was to find the people who think like me, and to create a small association. We are three blind people and one in the wheelchair. She is our bigger sister. She has a lot of experience, because you don't need to have only the disability experience. You have to have a lot of, some working experience to do something. So as you told in the very beginning, we are trying to bring a new perspective to train students at the University of Law, and after that we want to set a course about disability, international and national legal framework, and in the end, we hope that we could have disability attorneys, so that they can speak individually to those people about their issues, so that they could be reached more easily, so that they could, the law could be there. There could be a better follow up when it comes to law and change, and who is following the politics here in Romania. These disability lawyers who could have a voice, they could work with organizations, that they could work with the people and individuals. So that's why I'm saying that it's it's about opportunities, and those people in my community, I think that they need a lot of meetings with the international people to understand what is outside of Romania, what is outside of the world, outside of our country, when it comes to accessibility, when it comes to inclusion and job opportunities and rehabilitations and social life, adulthood life. Because, okay, our country is offering us our basic rights, and all the rights that we can have as a person with disabilities, education, benefits, to travel free around the country. But what happens with our activity after we graduate from school? Who is
Mm-hmm.
thinking about us?
Right.
When what happens with this person after,
Mm-hmm.
she
There's no real plan for the future. When it comes down to it, there's no true plan in Romania.
yeah,
Yeah.
there.
Well, Mariana, I wanted to kind of just tell you that I agree with everything we've covered today. You have done a absolutely spectacular job. Whether you agree with me or not, I can promise you that this episode will be tremendously impactful around the world, and I commit to that. I will certainly be trying to get your word out to people who care. It can also be very hard to find other people who care as much as you and I care. But I will certainly do everything in my power to make sure that the right people listen to your knowledge, because you're a sense of tremendous knowledge that is really unheard of. And I mean that I've encountered very few people who are this knowledgeable, and from whether you're Romanian or not, I've encountered very few blind people who have this level of knowledge and ability that you obviously have, and you've spent a tremendous amount of time focusing on yourself, just being a successful you, and that's truly what stands out to me. I do want to say that I would like to wrap up the conversation But before we do, I certainly want to ask you. So, what are some questions you have for me, Mariana? As I always like to say, as you know, I always like to say, considering you're a great listener, if you can ask me only one question to really make me sweat, to see if I'm worth my salt as a podcaster, what do you, Mariana Barbu, want to ask me?
I want to say, first of all, that I felt really comfortable here. I was very excited. I don't know if I was using the perfect English for, for your,
Your English is fine.
and I want to say that
Mm-hmm.
I want you to come to, as I said, come and present something, a program in the EU. You are a French speaker. I don't know, maybe in the future I will write to European Blind Union, and they are also based in France. So maybe we can do something more. We can bring those European people together and, you know, your podcast would be broadcasted more in this space where I'm living. And yeah, I don't have any question, but only one question that I'm still searching for. What is in your view the happiness for people with disabilities?
I think what really needs to happen is for people with disabilities, whether you're blind or not, for one thing, for people to be happy, there's many things that they need to do, but the two or three main ones that have been studied extensively is you need to have friends, you need to have social connection, and you need to have an important role within your community where you live, regardless of where you live. So those are two things that actually have to happen. Before employment, before you can make money and earn a living, you need to have social connection, and you need to have a place within your community to be happy. So that's what would need to happen. It's the other thing is, yes, everything needs to change. Many things need to change in your country. The first of which is that they need to, I don't really know, pass some sort of law that would say that blind people need to work and need to be allowed to work. Rather than what is happening is, rather than just draining the government of funds, it would be, one of the things that you can do is to, certainly with your knowledge, you can make the argument that it would be economically healthy for Romania if they employ people with disabilities. You need to show that when you employ people, you're actually helping the economy, that the country's economy becomes healthier over time. So these are all of the things that need to happen slowly but surely. So that's what I think. If you think about what is happiness, we would also say that, blind people need to have social connection, like a podcast, or social media like you and I have, right? They need to have a role or a position within their community like you and I have, and they need to try to have some sense of employment. And then the other truly intrinsic and truly intellectual answer and philosophical answer is that the entire collective of our lifetime is the search of happiness. Meaning, if we truly knew the truth, if we truly knew the meaning of happiness, then that would be the end of life. So that's the answer, is that there's some concrete things, there's some organic things that needs to happen, right? You need to have friends, you need to have a place in your community, you need to have a job. Romania needs to demand that people with disabilities are employed. And all of a sudden the economy of that country will grow, because there's a lot to be said for when people are working. For one thing, they're a lot more productive, they contribute to the society, and they also agree with the government more, by the way. When people have jobs, they're a lot more likely to agree with the administration and the regime of a country. Yet, outside of all of that, what you can do is keep talking about this podcast, keep trying to connect with other Romanian creators, and keep trying to just continue to do the right thing, because you're certainly on the right path. You're far more ahead of the game than you ever realize, and you're more ahead than you would ever know. And I wish that other blind people had this level of intellect and this level of determination. And we will certainly be thinking about this in Aaron's opinion and certainly getting the word out to the most loyal listeners who will truly love having you within the community at Aaron's opinion and things like that. But that's me. That's Aaron's opinion. And that's what I really think about happiness. And she's Mariana Barbu from a beautiful country in Romania. Okay, there you go. That's the story. Thanks so much. Okay, so what else do you want to know? And by the way, if someone wants to get in touch with this Mariana Barbu, how can they get in touch with a Mariana Barbu apart from just sending you a message on Facebook? Mm-hmm.
Of course, they can be in touch with me on email and Facebook, even in WhatsApp. Of course, after we talk a little bit, I am so happy to make friends. It's about social safety, and this is I'm resonating with your thoughts, and we really need friends. We really need interactions. We really need groups, and I'm so thankful for all of those people who are trying to contact me after the podcast. I'll be so blessed to find out about other countries, and why not visit each other and try to inspire and try to do maybe projects together. I'm very sociable, I'm very open, and please do and try to even write down in the comments. I'm getting back to you. I'm going to follow this podcast, and all the people who are coming and helping this community to grow. I will be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. So good. Well, we'll certainly put your description in the link below and all of that. All I can say is, Mariana Barbu, I could not have asked for a better conversation from Romania. You are the first person, I think you're certainly the first person from Romania to be on this podcast. You're probably one of the first Romanians to be on an English language podcast. I don't know, although probably if you research it, you would find that there are others from Eastern European countries, but probably few and far between. So you are more ahead than, as I said a moment ago, you're more ahead than you realize, and you're more of a leader than you would have ever thought. So that's what I can tell you, that apparently you're a leader, whether you want to be or not. Apparently you're the leader. So we'll certainly be keeping in touch. So without further ado, I just want to say that again, this is Aaron's opinion. She's Mariana Barbu. And do you want to give since I know you know the slogan, do you want to say the slogan that we say at the end?
Yeah, I do want.
Oh, please say it. Please say it. Okay, so thank you. And as we say here at Aaron's opinion, okay, say it. Go.
Thank you for being in Aaron's opinion. Subscribe to the channel and please help us grow. Help us get our daily inspiration. This is a very energetic podcast, so do belong.
Well, thank you so much. And of course, until next time, whether we talk to Romania or not next time, until next time, help one person today.
Goodbye and touch the sky.
Goodbye. That's adorable. Goodbye. Goodbye. So for you would say goodbye and touch the sky. I would say, I love that. Oh, that's going to be in the title. That's going to be in the title. That's adorable. Okay. That cracks me up. I love that. Okay. So fine. So goodbye, touch the sky, and of course, help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow.